Hello, my name is Zachariah with Old Man Gaming, and this is Snap Judgment Reviews. Snap Judgment Reviews is our new review show. We are using it to replace horrible reviews. The title of the horrible reviews just created this kind of weird, unintended toxicity as well as confusion with people watching it. So I just wanted to change it up. So going forward, what is a Snap Judgment Review? I get about 5 to 10 hours with the game I'm going to review. I'm trying to give you an idea right off the bat if you're going to enjoy it or not. I'm centering on that just initial intro. That, coupled with the fact that I also think games are one of the most subjective forms of art, I'm also not going to give a score. Instead, I'm going to tell you what the game is as an overview. I'm then going to give you a list of pros and cons that are from my point of view, as all reviews are. And then I will also tell you whether I will be sticking with the game outside the purposes of this review or not. So, those disclaimers out of the way, I must also say my voice is a little bit rough. I wish that I wasn't doing the first episode of the new Snap Judgment Reviews with this voice, but still battling a cold. What are we reviewing today? We're reviewing Exoprimal, Capcom's new games-as-service, e-sport, third-person mecha shooter horde mode thing. This is a real Frankenstein of a game. But does it hold up? Does it not? Well, right off the bat, what is this game? The game is very hard to explain because I feel like the developers of this game, everybody wrote down a bunch of random ideas, put those into a hat, and then drew 20 of them. You play a character that you create from scratch. That character is immediately assigned to an exo squad. At that point, you think, okay, I'm going to be doing robot fighting. You're fighting dinosaurs because they also set up the fact that dinosaurs randomly just beam in from some other dimension just through vortexes. It's in a weather report, like vortex reports. Where are the dinosaurs going to beam in? So there's this constant weird kind of back-end war going on. And me as a player even thought, okay, so I'm going to get in my robot and I'm going to go fight the dinosaurs. That's not what happens. Instead, you get assigned to a group of losers who don't actually get to go to the field because nobody likes them. Instead, they're assigned to this island, which they end up crash landing on, and it is controlled by an AI called Leviathan. This AI unit is, for some reason, running endless simulations on the war with the dinosaurs by transporting you back in time to what I believe is the inciting incident with the dinosaurs. This is super freaking weird. Apparently, that's what the AI is doing, just pulling exo fighters in, and so the game actually unfolds in a couple of different ways. Where what you do is you go into the war game. There's only one mode. You end up getting paired with 4 other people, or you can jump in with your buddies, of course. And then you get to actually versus 5 other people, but you don't fight them right off the bat. Instead, you move through these series of procedurally generated challenges. Fighting a big dinosaur, fighting waves of velociraptors, fighting waves of other things, having to hold objectives for certain periods of time. You're trying to get through these before the other team does. You're trying to get faster to the goal, because when you get to the goal, then you get this procedurally generated end finale thing. And this can be all sorts of things. This can be just more objectives. It can be some insane thing where velociraptor swarms drop down from the sky and you have to survive them. It can be this huge T-Rex fight. It can be a weird hammer objective thing, capture the flag, or even a point-to-point Overwatch kind of move the item from the other point. What's interesting about the finale, though, is you and the other team are now in the same spot, usually, and you can then fight each other and actually take each other out, to the point where most of the time the finale of whatever this final thing is puts both teams in the same spot to fight over whatever it is. You getting through the original objectives gets you to that final mission faster, which gives you that advantage. So that's the game. What you then do is you get experience points, more experience points if you win, but you get experience points. You level up a battle pass, yepers, and then you get loot boxes, yepers, and then you get all sorts of things in those, from cosmetics to all sorts of cosmetics. It's cosmetics, it's cosmetics, it's cosmetics. You can then also level up your robots. The more you play the robot themselves actually level up, giving you other different rewards, both cosmetic, monetary, as well as an upgrade system that allows you to kind of trick out your robot with more perks. Things that don't necessarily break you when you're fighting other lower ranked players, but that give you an advantage, a notable advantage that you can feel when you're playing. Okay, so that's a mouthful, right? That's the story. We're going to definitely talk about that story in the cons, because then what it tries to do is tell the story, even though you're going through these survivals. The amount of survivals you do leads to more story. You'll just all of a sudden get a dump of like cinematics, or you'll be in a mission with other players that you're just seeing this story mission or whatever. And then, yeah, you're trying to escape from the island. So, let's get into the pros and cons of this thing. I like to go positive. I like to go pros first. And there are a lot of cons on this one, but let's get into the pros first. Number one, I do want to say I'm very heavily addicted to this game right now. The combat is solid. I haven't really noticed any truly broken characters or truly weak characters. I feel like they all kind of have a place out there, and they can all be effective depending on your playstyle and how you like it. Of course, the game is still new out in the world, so the meta is probably going to change, and then people will eventually be yelling at you for playing anybody who they don't like. I only actually played one suit. I played all of them in the tutorial firefight, which allowed me to try all the powers and whatnot. I got to like one, which was Krieger, and then once I liked that one, I stuck with that one. I just wanted to hone in on that one and hone in on the other experiences of playing. The combat, the gameplay itself is very solid. I did not notice any breaks. I didn't get booted at any point in time. Not saying that hasn't happened to people, but in my time, it did not happen to me. I never noticed any extreme glitches, any extreme tethering, any rubber banding, anything like that that you come to expect from a launch day at a AAA multiplayer title, which is a sad state of affairs that we're there, but we are. As far as a AAA title goes, there are not that many bugs or issues that I have noticed in my time with it. Again, I only get 5 to 10 hours, so I'm not exactly sure if I wouldn't notice more later on, but for right now, I'm not noticing it. My next pro has got to be how easy it is to join up with your friends. Unfortunately, you have to join the Capcom network or whatever when you log in. We're going to talk about that in the cons. But once you do deal with that, it's very easy. I was very nervous because usually when you have a games as service that requires you to be on a third-party site, you have to somehow navigate that third-party site and also get friends there to actually group up with people instead of just grouping up through whatever system you're already using. I was using Game Pass, but that's not true. You can actually, it immediately links to your Xbox. You can immediately see who your friends are, and you can just join them real easy. Easy breezy, no problem. Didn't have any problem with that. Didn't have any problem staying with them, which I really enjoyed. I don't have many more pros because really those are the best pros I can ask for in a games as service, and I think that they should go an extended amount, even though it's only 2 of them. It's not necessarily the quantity, it's the quality. And solid combat and gameplay and a solid networking system makes Zach really happy when you get to a game like this. However, there are a lot of cons and a lot of things that you're going to see me talk about. I do want to stress, I don't feel this is a negative review. I know there's only like 2 pros over there, and there's going to be a lot more cons, but just remember the cons, the size of the cons are not necessarily equal to the size of the pros. But we're going to do it. We're going to get into cons. I mean, number one, I'm not going to go over each thing, but let's face it, the microtransaction thing after paying for a premium product is ridiculous. I have access to this because it's on Game Pass. A lot of people play Game Pass and they think, oh, my game's free because it's on Game Pass. No, it isn't. You're paying for Game Pass. You're paying for that service. You're paying for that game. They're double dipping because then they also have a Battle Pass that you can play for, and they also have loot boxes. I do not like this. The level of microtransaction in this game is abhorrent. It is ridiculous, and it speaks to something terrible in gaming that continues to happen. That AAA game companies now don't have any problem triple and even quadruple dipping on how they're taking money from you. I am sure that when this game does get DLC, but they're going to make you pay for some of it. In addition to all that, they also have 3 suits that are locked. You can eventually buy them for in-game currency, but only once you make it to level 20, player level 20, which is a little ridiculous. Well beyond the pale that there are so many things to have to buy or pay for. It's microtransaction city in here. This is a very Capcom-y thing, circa Street Fighter. It's very on par with that, and I don't really like that. I've got to bring that up in the cons. As much fun as I'm having with the game, this detracts from it. Every time I have to open a freaking loot box, it's just obnoxious. First one out the gate, I'm already screwing up, so I'm going to edit this little section in. One more con that I forgot to talk about, and that is you have to sign up for a Capcom ID. It is a very annoying process. Your Xbox Game Pass won't automatically just link it or whatever. You have to, once it starts you up, you have to then go to a website and fill out the whole form for a Capcom ID. Super annoying. Absolutely hate this stuff, this third-party crap. Yeah, there you go. Next thing is the story, and this is probably, if we're aside from the microtransactions, the biggest just pile of not good that this game has, which is the story. Look, if you're enjoying the story, more power to you. But the characters are out of place. It seems written by a psychopath. The storyline is overtly convoluted when it doesn't have to be. To justify you killing dinosaurs with robots, just have me kill dinosaurs with robots. I don't necessarily need 14 layers of story. Not to mention the fact that these cutscenes just get dropped in before and after matches, and while you think to yourself, oh, that's a good way of doing it, it also just breaks the flow of what you're trying to do and how you're playing the game. And I cannot state how bad this story is. I don't like the voice acting. No offense to voice actors. I'm sure it is not their fault. I'm sure they tried hard. They were given the lines and they read the lines. But right off the bat, it's overly cliche. There's a cliche on your team. Like, everyone is a cliche of something. Once that's done, you're a bro. If you watch the menu screen, he's constantly doing squat thrusts and shadow boxing and beating his chest like he's some sort of weird F-boy. It's ridiculous. You then get into this whole like sub-level of the AI thing, and it's just so complicated and convoluted. It's so much easier to just be like, hey, there's dinosaurs. We need to fight them with robots. Go. You know, you don't need this. I would expect a level of story like this in something that's a narrative game. This isn't a narrative game. Plus, it's not good. I cannot say how bad it is. I have skipped more cutscenes in this than I care to admit because just they immediately start talking. I'm like, oh my God. You just hear like 3 cliches right off the bat. The story is not fun at all. It's obnoxious, and it does not attach me to any of the characters within. Next. The next thing I want to talk about is the way they do voice acting in this. It's very strange because your voice, you are a silent character. You don't talk. But when you get into the mecha, they suddenly talk, but they talk with their own voices. Are the mecha alive? Do they have voices? You know, with such a convoluted, crazy storyline, they never really explain, well, at least not what I've played, what's the deal with the mecha? You'll have a different accent in certain ones. When I played Krieger, which was my favorite, I have like a Russian accent. But if you then play somebody else, you're an American. What's going on with the voices? I wouldn't be as upset with this if you just picked a mecha and stuck with it, but you can switch mechas on the fly or exosuits on the fly in the game. So why is the voice changing for everyone? It's very strange, very weird. Don't love it. Finally, I'm going to lump these last two cons in together. Number one, what they try and do here is, so they stagger the way you get stuff. Okay, you have to unlock stuff to get stuff. So like when I first started playing, every one of my finales was the escort the thing mission, like the Overwatch style escort the thing mission while the other team's escorting a thing. And that was fine, but it was just everyone until I leveled up. I would even drag my friends into that. And then once I leveled up, they start putting in new stuff, new dinosaurs, new areas, and new finales. That's cool. But at the same time, I don't understand why it's staggered. I don't at all understand why it's staggered. You make somebody bored of the game right off the bat instead of showing them all these wonderful, new, kind of cool ideas and modes. I think all of that should have been in there. Coupling that up, I'm going to couple that up with a couple other things. Number one, this game's going to get old really fast. They've already announced a DLC. That DLC involves a new exosuit to pilot. It involves a new rig. But it does not seem to say any new modes, any new ways to play. So from what I can tell, this is it. This is the one mode. You play this one mode. You fight through objectives. You get to the point. Then you get a finale. And I will say there is a good amount of variation once you've leveled up. I've started to get some really cool and interesting finales, but I've also gotten some really crappy ones. There's one finale which is literally just more objective stuff without the other players there with bigger bad guys. That's a cop-out. That's a huge cop-out. Why is that even in there? I think that, like, they're taking a lot of wild swings with, like, the procedurally generated events, but they're not actually giving you any real variation. They're just giving you like 50 small events that could come to you in any different way. If you're playing with a deck of cards, it's 52 cards, they're random and they're all different. But once you've gone through that deck, you've seen them all and it's over. Instead, I'd much rather play with 52 different types of decks of cards, multiple different ways. This is going to get old fast for the general populace. I'm not sure if they're really trying to lean into the esports or if they're trying to I don't know, but they need some more variation there, and they need to also reevaluate the ones that are in there. Some of them are cop-outs. Some of them are ridiculously hard to come back from. Like, there are some where it's like, if you get there first, you've basically won already, and then other ones where it's like, yeah, it's a fight the whole way. I would much rather have more of the fight the whole ways than just, okay, I've either already won or I've already lost. That's going to really create rage quitters, and that's going to be very obnoxious in the middle of gameplay as well. All right, so that's it. Exoprimal. Am I going to stick with this sucker? Am I going to keep playing it? For the time being, I can say yes. I am really enjoying it, and it is a game that keeps my brain, like, it's one of those rinse and repeat games that just makes you think one more game, one more game, one more game. It definitely takes me back to some of the other multiplayer games I've enjoyed in my life, like PUBG, or Marvel Snap, or any of those things where I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to try this one more time, and then all of a sudden it's 2 a.m. Exoprimal has that, and I enjoy that. It definitely rewards you to continue to play. They also have a pretty good upgrade, at least at the point that I'm playing in, where I'm constantly getting something that I can potentially put on my mech, potentially change on it. So every like 3 or 4 games, I can, maybe I'll put a decal on, maybe this on. So it's a little bit of a breakup. But the story is abysmal. That's not going to hold my interest. And I think that they do need to find some more variation. That's my own personal opinion, though, because there are some games coming out that have piqued my interest. Remnant 2. We've got Double Dragon Gaiden. I know that's not even comparable to this. It's not even AAA, but it's definitely in the mindset of games that people are looking at. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And then, of course, you have Atlas, I think it's Atlas Sons of the Fallen or whatever, in August. Then, of course, you're looking at the bigger ones, which Whether or not I think they're going to be a wreck. You've got Starfield and that sort of thing. Will this continue to hold people's attention when those games start to come out? I don't know in its current state. But for now, I'm still in it. I hope to see you out there, and I'll look forward to killing some dinosaurs with you. As far as enjoying it right away, you're definitely going to enjoy it right away if you enjoy third-person shooters, because you get almost right into the action, especially if you hold that B button down and skip those terrible cutscenes. You guys can contact us on Facebook at OmegaGamingH, on Twitter at OmegaGaming9. You can join our Discord. Link is in the description below. You can influence this and all of our shows from there. We will have more Snap Judgment reviews on this channel. I don't know when they're going to come. It really depends on when I can get the game, how long I can spend with the game, and when I want to play it. Until then, you guys keep watching and listening. We'll keep making them. We'll see you guys later.